My mom left my little sister with me at 18 and never returned. A judge tried to force me to pay her debts a decade later. I'm sitting in my office bathroom, sobbing over a court summons trembling in my hands. The fluorescent light above flickers mercilessly, casting harsh shadows that make the legal papers look even more menacing. Emma Carter, sued for $78,300. The numbers dance before my eyes like a nightmare. $78,300. The sound of the ventilation fan hums overhead, a constant mechanical drone that somehow makes this moment feel even more surreal. Debts from the mother who abandoned me 10 years ago. My phone buzzes against the cold ceramic floor, the vibration echoing off the bathroom walls. Text from my sister Lily. Emma, OSU denied my PLUS loan application. They said there's a credit issue with our family. What's happening? The phone screen glows accusingly in the dim space. I throw it onto the cold tile floor, hearing the sharp crack of the case hitting concrete. That's when I realize, Mom didn't just abandon us. She's been destroying our future from a distance. And now the legal system wants me to pay for her crimes. June 15, 2015. I was 18, fresh out of Grove City High School, ready to start my accounting program at Columbus State Community College. I had dreams, plans, a future mapped out with careful precision. I came home from my graduation party to find a handwritten note on our kitchen counter, illuminated by the harsh overhead light that made the blue ink look almost black against the white paper. You need to take care of Lily. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. Mom. The silence in our small apartment was deafening. The refrigerator hummed. A neighbor's TV droned through thin walls. But Susan Carter, all of 39 years old, had vanished into the night with our entire emergency savings, $1,200. Gone, just like that. She left me with my 8-year-old sister and $340 in my checking account, the bank statement still sitting on the counter like an accusation. Lily was sitting on her bed when I found her, clutching her stuffed elephant, tears streaming down her face. The streetlight outside her window cast long shadows across her small frame. "Where's Mommy?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper in the darkness. "I don't know, sweetie," I whispered back, pulling her close and feeling her little body shake with quiet sobs. "But I'll always be here for you." The weight of those words settled over me like a heavy blanket. I had no idea what always being here would actually cost me, or how prophetic that promise would become. The next morning, reality hit like a freight train. Rent was $650 for our tiny studio apartment in Near East Side Columbus. Utilities, groceries, gas for the beat-up 2003 Honda Civic Mom left behind. It all added up to way more than my part-time Kroger job could cover. So I did what I had to do. I took a second job serving tables at Bob Evans, working days at Kroger for $9.50 an hour, and nights slinging coffee and pancakes for $7.25 plus tips. Between both jobs, I managed about $1,200 a month. After rent, we had $550 for everything else. Food, utilities, gas, Lily's school supplies, everything two people need to survive. I lived on ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches so Lily could have real meals. I shopped clearance racks and thrift stores. I watched every penny like my life depended on it, because it did. The worst part wasn't the financial struggle. It was the constant fear. In July 2015, Franklin County Children's Services showed up at our door. Sarah Mitchell, the caseworker, was kind but firm. "Emma, you're only 18. Are you sure you can handle raising a child?" I had to prove stable income, safe housing, reliable childcare. One misstep and Lily could disappear into foster care. We might be separated forever. That fear kept me awake at night, drove me to work harder, sacrifice more. College? Forget it. My dreams of becoming a CPA were indefinitely deferred. Social life? What social life? While my friends went to parties and dated, I was helping with homework and attending parent-teacher conferences. But here's the thing. Lily thrived. Despite everything, despite our tiny apartment and secondhand clothes and dinner sometimes being cereal, she was happy. She was safe. She was loved. And that made every sacrifice worth it. Years blurred together. 2016, 2017, 2018. Work, sleep, repeat. Gradually, life stabilized. In 2019, I managed to start taking classes part-time at Columbus State while still working. It took me 4 years to finish what should have been a 2-year degree, but in 2023 I finally graduated with my associate's degree in accounting. Henderson & Associates CPA hired me as a staff accountant for $52,000 a year. For the first time in almost a decade, I could breathe. Lily was 16, thriving in high school, planning for college. I even started dating Derek Williams, a sweet software developer I met at a coffee shop. By 2025, I was 28 years old with $18,000 saved for a house down payment. Derek and I were talking marriage. Lily had gotten into OSU pre-med with a 3.9 GPA and substantial scholarships. She wanted to be a pediatrician, to protect children like Emma protected me, she'd say. For the first time in 10 years, I felt normal. I felt like maybe, just maybe, we'd made it. Then the letters started arriving. March 2025 changed everything. The first letter came from Ohio Hospital Collections on a Tuesday that started like any other. $28,400 in medical debt from Susan Carter's emergency surgery at Ohio State Medical Center in 2019. The envelope felt heavier than it should have, the official letterhead catching the afternoon light streaming through my apartment window. According to our records, Susan Carter listed you as financially responsible party and emergency contact. Our legal counsel suggests this may create liability obligations under certain circumstances. I called immediately, hands shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. The office sounds around me. Keyboards clicking, phones ringing, Derek's concerned voice asking if I was okay. All faded into a distant hum. I never signed anything! My mother abandoned me 10 years ago. Ma'am, we're just following standard collection procedures. You were listed with your current address as her primary contact. That was just the beginning. Over the next 3 weeks, the letters came like an avalanche. Medical debt, $28,400, credit card collections, $32,900 from 3 different cards. Discover card, $18,700, Miami Beach Resorts, Las Vegas casinos. Capital One, $8,900, luxury shopping, jewelry purchases. Chase Freedom, $5,300, cash advances, expensive restaurants. And the worst part, a $17,000 PPP loan fraud charge. Apparently, Susan had filed for a Paycheck Protection Program loan in 2020 using my name, claiming payroll for a non-existent nail salon business in Florida. At 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, I checked my credit report with trembling fingers. My score had plummeted from 720 to 580. 6 fraudulent accounts I'd never opened. Tax returns filed in my name, claiming me as a dependent while I was supporting myself and Lily. Then came the court summons. Franklin County Court of Common Pleas. Case number CV 2025-003847. Midland Funding LLC was demanding $78,300. All the debts plus interest and collection fees. I had 28 days to respond or face default judgment and potential wage garnishment of up to 25% of my salary. Everything I'd worked for was crumbling. Derek's worried voice. Emma, $78,000 debt would disqualify us for a mortgage. I'm worried about our future. My boss, Michael Henderson, pulled me aside. Emma, I'm hearing rumors about legal troubles. This could affect your pending promotion. And Lily, breaking my heart. Emma, OSU denied my PLUS loan because of family credit issues. Without it, I can't afford housing next semester. I hired a private investigator named Tom Bradley for $150 a day to find Susan. What he discovered made me physically sick. Susan Carter was living as Linda Martinez in a $14,500 condominium in Tampa Bay. She worked as a nail technician earning $32,000 a year, but her social media showed vacations, casino visits, expensive jewelry. She had a partner, Carlos Gutierrez, and seemed to be living quite comfortably. Bank surveillance footage showed her using a fake Emma Carter ID to open accounts. Signature analysis revealed forgery on 18 different documents. My phone GPS data proved I was in Columbus when Emma was supposedly shopping in Florida. The realization hit me like a physical blow. She didn't abandon us out of desperation. She abandoned us to start over with a new identity, keeping mine as a backup credit line. I was never her daughter. I was her insurance policy. I sat in attorney Jessica Morgan's office with Derek holding my hand and a $400 consultation fee burning a hole in my carefully managed budget. Emma, Midland is misinterpreting liability laws, Jessica explained. You have strong defenses based on abandonment and identity theft, but this will be expensive and complex. We're looking at $18,000 to $22,000 in legal fees over 4 to 6 months. Success probability is about 85% if our evidence holds up under scrutiny. Derek squeezed my hand. Emma, I've watched you sacrifice everything for Lily. Now it's my turn to sacrifice for our future. Here's $12,000 for the legal fund. Michael Henderson at my firm quietly advanced $8,000 against my salary. My colleagues organized a discreet fundraising drive. Even Sarah Mitchell, the former children's services worker who'd investigated us 10 years ago, offered to testify as an expert witness. Jessica's strategy was comprehensive. First, we'd document the abandonment through Franklin County Children's Services records, school forms, medical consents, 10 years of documentation showing I'd been Lily's sole guardian. Second, we'd prove systematic identity theft through bank surveillance footage, forensic handwriting analysis, and GPS data. Third, we'd challenge Midland's legal standing. They'd purchased fraudulent debt without basic verification. The hardest part was preparing for Susan's deposition. Jessica coordinated with Florida courts to compel her testimony. After weeks of legal maneuvering, we finally got her on video. Ms. Carter, did you use Emma's social security number to obtain credit accounts? Long pause. I was in a difficult financial situation. I thought she was doing well and could handle it. You own a $14,500 condominium. Why didn't you use your own assets for these debts? I needed to preserve my retirement security. Watching that video, any lingering doubt about fighting this disappeared. She'd knowingly, deliberately exploited my identity while I struggled to build a life for her abandoned children. The Courtroom Battle, September 15th, 2025. Franklin County Court of Common Pleas. The courthouse marble echoed with every footstep, a sound that seemed to amplify my anxiety with each click of my heels. I'd never been inside a courtroom before, but Jessica had prepared me well. The judge's bench towered above us, imposing and final. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting everything in stark, unforgiving brightness. Derek and Lily sat in the front row behind me, and I could feel their presence like an anchor. Some co-workers and friends had taken time off work to support us, filling the gallery with quiet solidarity. The air conditioning whispered constantly, but I still felt sweat beading on my forehead. Midland Funding's attorney, David Kumar, opened with cold efficiency. Your Honor, when patients designate family members as emergency contacts and responsible parties, those designations carry legal weight. Personal family circumstances don't override documented obligations. Jessica's opening was passionate. Your Honor, this case represents systematic identity theft masquerading as legitimate debt collection. A woman abandoned her children, then spent years stealing their financial identity while living comfortably in another state. No law requires identity theft victims to pay for crimes committed against them. The first day didn't go well for Midland. Their hospital billing manager couldn't explain signature inconsistencies or verify I'd actually signed guarantor agreements. Their credit verification analyst admitted they'd never verified application locations, employment claims, or signature authenticity. They'd relied entirely on social security number matching without any fraud prevention measures. Day 2 was my turn to testify. Jessica had coached me to be factual but emotional, to help the judge understand what abandonment really meant. Your Honor, when my mother abandoned us, I was 18 years old with $340 in my bank account and an 8-year-old sister depending entirely on me. I worked 2 jobs, lived on ramen noodles, and gave up my college dreams to ensure Lily had stability. For 10 years, I wondered if I had somehow failed her, if that's why she left. I hoped maybe someday she'd return and explain. Instead, I discovered she had been invisibly present all along, stealing my identity, exploiting my credit, financing her comfortable lifestyle while I struggled to build a life for my sister and myself. She didn't abandon us once. She's been systematically exploiting us for years. We presented the bank surveillance video showing Susan using fake Emma ID. Forensic handwriting analysis confirmed systematic signature forgery. GPS and phone records provided irrefutable proof I was in Columbus during every instance of Florida fraud. Dr. Sarah Kim, a clinical psychologist, testified about abandonment trauma. Parental abandonment creates lasting psychological damage. Holding Emma financially responsible for her abandoner's fraudulent actions would constitute institutional re-traumatization. CPA Thomas Wright, our forensic accountant, calculated that I'd provided over $18,000 in documented child-rearing expenses across 10 years, far exceeding any reasonable expectation of filial responsibility. Susan's video deposition played like a confession. Her stammering admissions, her casual justifications, her complete lack of remorse. It all painted a clear picture of calculated exploitation. In closing, Kumar made one last desperate attempt. Your Honor, while the circumstances are unfortunate, some level of financial responsibility may exist based on the documentation we've presented. Jessica's closing was powerful. Your Honor, Midland Funding purchased fraudulent debt created through systematic identity theft, then sued the victim without conducting basic verification. Emma Carter built a loving family through extraordinary sacrifice. She deserves legal protection, not further victimization. Justice demands complete dismissal. Judge Patricia Williams deliberated for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. The silence in the courtroom was absolute. Even the air conditioning seemed to hold its breath. Every small sound was magnified. Papers rustling, someone shifting in their seat, the distant hum of traffic outside. Finally, she looked up from her notes, and her voice cut through the tension like a blade. After careful review of all evidence and applicable law, this court finds no valid basis for defendant's liability. These debts were created through systematic identity theft. Defendant Emma Carter bears no financial responsibility. The court grants defendant's motion for dismissal with prejudice. Furthermore, the court refers concerns about plaintiff's collection practices for appropriate review. The words hit me like a wave of relief so powerful my knees nearly buckled. The courtroom erupted in quiet applause from our supporters. A sound like gentle rain after a drought. Derek and Lily embraced me as tears of relief streamed down my face, and I could finally hear my own heartbeat over the rushing in my ears. Thank you, Your Honor. Justice has been served. The victory in court was just the beginning of our recovery. Within months, everything started falling into place in ways I'd never dared hope. Midland Funding settled our FDCPA counterclaim for $5,000 plus all $19,500 in attorney fees to avoid further litigation. Our separate civil suit against Susan in Florida yielded a $15,000 settlement from her condominium equity. The Franklin County prosecutor filed criminal charges, and Susan pleaded guilty to identity theft, receiving 18 months probation plus $10,000 in court-ordered restitution. Total recovery, $3,000, plus all legal fees covered. Our house down payment fund grew from $18,000 to $48,000. My credit score bounced back to 748. Henderson and Associates promoted me to senior accountant at $62,000 annually, with a new specialization in forensic accounting based on my personal experience. Derek proposed on Christmas morning 2025. Emma, Watching you fight for your family with such dignity showed me exactly who I want to marry. You're the strongest and most principled person I know. Lily's Plus loan was approved after my credit restoration, and she received additional merit scholarships totaling $12,000 annually. She maintained her 3.8 GPA in OSU's pre-med program, still determined to become a pediatrician, to protect children like Emma protected me. The healing wasn't just financial. Therapy with Dr. Sarah Kim helped me process years of misplaced guilt and abandonment trauma. I learned to set boundaries. Susan's letters from probation were returned unopened. I established a legal no-contact order. Forgiveness, I realized, was for my peace, not her benefit. We created new traditions. Instead of Mother's Day, we celebrated Sister's Day annually. I started volunteering with Franklin County Children's Services and established a modest scholarship fund for foster children pursuing higher education. Speaking engagements about identity theft prevention brought in extra income while helping other victims. 1 year later, September 15th, 2026, exactly 1 year after our court victory, Derek and I were married at Bluestone Event Venue in Columbus. 130 guests included Jessica Morgan as co-maid of honor, Judge Patricia Williams, Henderson and Associates colleagues, Franklin County Children's Services workers, and close friends who'd supported us through the nightmare. My wedding vows reflected how far we'd come. Derek, 1 year ago I was fighting for my financial survival and my family's future. But I wasn't just fighting against debt. I was fighting for the right to build a life free from my past. Thank you for believing that future was worth fighting for, and for wanting to build it alongside me. Lily's maid of honor toast brought tears to everyone's eyes. Emma taught me that family isn't determined by DNA. It's defined by who shows up, who fights for you, and who builds dreams with you. 10 years ago, our mother abandoned us. But Emma didn't just become my guardian. She showed me what unconditional love looks like. By October 2026, our new life was everything I'd dreamed of during those dark years of struggle. We owned a 3-bedroom ranch in Worthington, purchased with our $48,000 down payment. Lily was thriving in her junior year of pre-med, consistently making Dean's List. I'd advanced to senior forensic accountant, earning $68,000 annually, with a growing consulting practice helping other identity theft victims at $75 per hour. My article, Legal Remedies for Financial Identity Theft, was published in the Ohio CPA Journal, and I'd built an emergency fund of $25,000 for genuine emergencies this time. We were planning our first real family vacation to Disney World. On our wedding night, I reflected on the journey that brought us here. I used to think family meant obligation and sacrifice. Tonight I learned family means people who choose you daily, who fight alongside you, and who celebrate your victories. Lily chose to trust me at age 8. Derek chose to fight for our future when everything seemed hopeless. I chose to build something beautiful from what we inherited. Susan Carter abandoned her children to start over. In response, we created an extraordinary life without her. The greatest victory isn't defeating her in court. It's realizing we never needed her approval or presence to build something meaningful. A message of hope. If you're facing unfair family financial obligations or have been victimized by identity theft from someone you trusted, know this. You have legal rights and remedies available. Your past doesn't define your future. Your response to it does. Document everything. Seek qualified legal counsel. Build your support network. And remember, you're not alone in this fight. Sometimes the family we choose is stronger than the family we were born into. Sometimes the greatest act of love is refusing to be victimized twice by the same person. 10 years ago, I thought my mother's abandonment was the worst thing that could happen to us. Today, I realize it was the beginning of our real family story. One built on choice, commitment, and unconditional love rather than biology and obligation. The mother who left us taught us we didn't need her. The mother who tried to destroy us from a distance taught us we were stronger than her worst intentions. And in the end, justice wasn't just about winning in court. It was about claiming the right to build our own future, free from the crimes and choices of others. We didn't just survive, we thrived. And if we can do it, so can you.